The Guns on Pegs podcast is brought to you by iTap Group. Hello and welcome back to the Guns on Pegs podcast with me, George Brown.
And me, Chris Horn. How are you, George?
Yeah, not bad. It's bloody hot.
Should have come to the office, George, shouldn't you?
Why? Because of the air conditioning?
Yes, it's really enjoyable. I'm tempted to spend all weekend here, to be honest.
Well, I was going to say, because the problem with being in the office is you then have to get the train home. And
yes.
I have to say, my train journey home yesterday was deeply unpleasant. Even though the aircon in the train sounded like the whole thing was going to take off. It was very sticky.
Now, we're going for one in the Beehive this evening, but the problem with sitting in the Beehive is it's just, London temperatures, sweaty, sticky, horrible.
Yeah.
Bit of stale smoke outside.
Yes.
But it's enjoyable all the same, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. What podcast-worthy news have you got, Chris?
Not really any. This season's looking lighter than potentially ever for me, which is a very strange feeling. I'm only out 15 times in August, which is really low. Obviously, that's a lie. But yeah, no, it's a weird thing. We're flat out on Scrypound, getting into all sorts of other exciting things. I'm not really like you because I've not really seen you this week. I think you've been fishing, doing all sorts of fun stuff. Go on.
Well, so I think since we last recorded, maybe the first fishing day was when we recorded last. So I've had a couple of days fishing on the chalk streams, which has been fantastic. A really nice day with a podcast listener, member of the Most Noble Order of the Garters, at the beginning of June, which was absolutely lovely. And then I had a day on Tuesday with Digby and former podcast guest Barney Stratton on Barney's Stretch of the Wylye. Which was absolutely delightful. Lots of lovely, tiny little wild brown trout, which was a really nice time. Again, stinking hot. We did more lunching than we did fishing on both occasions, really, but really, really nice. On Monday, I was at Peppering, the Duke of Norfolk's grey partridge project, having a look around with some scribe hounders. That was really lovely. Really interesting mix.
Good time of year to be there.
Yeah. Oh, amazing time of year to be there. I mean, not quite so good for sort of seeing the sort of nesting and what have you, but to see the farming operation and, to see the difference between, the hedgerow, then the grass margin, then the wildflower mix, then the conservation headland, and then the arable crop in, as it were, in the middle of the field. You really get to see all the different aspects of it. And then we also were very lucky that their entomologist was there doing his sort of biannual or whatever it is survey of the insect life. And he did a sort of, like a sweep with his big bug net thing, cover, I don't know, maybe 20 yards sweeping with this thing. And then he tipped it out into the box. And I swear it was like the whole thing was wriggling. And this guy's incredible. Wow. He sees this tiny little black thing that to you and I is a beetle, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, that's whatever the Latin name is." And, "Oh, that one, I haven't seen that one this year." And then there was one weevil that he said that because there were sort of 6 or 7 us standing around looking at it, that we had just more or less doubled the number of people in the UK who had ever seen that beetle.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's so cool that they're doing all of this. And obviously with that, the effort that goes into that operation, that's really cool. I'm gutted I couldn't be there. Were there many greys around, grey chicks as well?
Well, we saw a recently vacated nest with the eggshell still there. So they are around and about. I mean, the cover is so long there. There's so much cover that you'll never get anywhere near them.
Are they positive?
Are they so positive? Yeah. I mean, Charlie was very cagey. Didn't want to jinx anything, but he was saying that they'd seen a pair of partridges with 21 chicks in tow. Which I think makes them think they're in for a pretty good year.
Wow, 21, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it's this time, isn't it? These couple of weeks during the year when from a grouse point of view, greys, all the rest of it.
Well, it's Ascot week, isn't it?
Yeah, because last year it was really wet, wasn't it? The first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Year before, I seem to remember incredibly dry, and I remember hearing of grousekeepers trying to sort of take water up because there was so little. So fingers crossed, because it's been really bad for wild game birds the last few years. This fingers crossed and touch wood and all that for this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of which, I've also had my my grouse invitation.
Oh, fuck off.
So I won't talk too much about that just yet, because lots can go wrong between now and then. But yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to that at the end of August as well. So yeah, it's been an eventful few weeks for me.
Balance. What was it we were saying earlier about
well,
balance?
in the interest of balance, why don't you introduce our guest?
Our guest today is the purveyor of an award-winning range of fruit liqueurs. He's a long-time friend of the pod, an actual supporter of the podcast in terms of putting money where his mouth is on many occasions. He is our second reality TV star, more on that in a minute, and his family host one of North Yorkshire's most famous game shoots, and now also one of the most reputable simulated game shoots in the country at Raisthorpe Manor. So please put down your sieves and cheesecloths, let go of your juniper berries, and raise a glass to Ollie Medforth. Welcome.
Wow, thank you very much. What an entrance that was.
Well, in the interest of balance, let's bring you down again. First of all, it's very good to have you with us, Ollie. Thank you for joining us. But so Love Island, wasn't it? The
No.
Oh, that was the other Ollie.
Oh, Ollie Williams, yes, yeah. No, it wasn't. No. Well, thank you for having me on, George and Chris. It's very kind of you to ask.
Tell us about The Apprentice then.
It was short-lived. It was all in all actually a really good experience. I learned a lot about resilience and a lot about the TV world, which I had no idea about before going into the sort of process. I really enjoyed sort of the application side of it. I think there was around 70,000 people did apply. So to get to the 18, it was really good. There's about 15 different interviews and stages.
Wow, 15.
There was a lot, to be fair. It was good. Obviously, I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I actually enjoyed the show itself, clearly.
And the experience of the show itself, you said it was short-lived. Is it too painful to talk about now, or for those who didn't see it when it went out, just tell everyone very quickly the story?
Yeah. So no, we went up to Inverness to do corporate entertainment, which is actually what we do here. And I didn't put any flour in the brownies, so I was in the kitchen, which is just not my ideal place. I should have been out there entertaining and hosting the clients that we had on board, and I was actually put in the kitchen, which I shouldn't have been. But anyway, and I forgot to put some flour in the brownies, so I've now started. I knew that they would use this as a spin-off, so I thought, right, let's try and grab them and start selling flourless brownies and putting that into the vodka as well, which is going down an absolute hit at the moment. So turning a negative into a positive.
Classic. Good work. Enjoyable, no doubt. Yeah, I can imagine learning a lot, seeing all that sort of stuff, and like how something like that operates. It'd be fascinating.
You should apply, Chris.
No, thank you. Right, Ollie, what's that you're drinking?
What am I drinking?
Change the subject.
Obviously, I couldn't not be drinking some of the Raisthorpe Manor range. It is our award-winning Damson gin mixed with our Yorkshire tonic, apple and elderflower, which is going down an absolute treat. I've got plenty of ice in the glass, and it mixes it together, and it's absolutely fantastic. So we've got the Damson gin with a apple and elderflower Yorkshire tonic.
Sounds lovely. Is that your go-to then?
Yeah, I mean, this time of the year, I do love a gin and tonic, and obviously Damson gin you'd probably drink a lot, obviously throughout the winter. But if you put it into like a bit of a spritz, if you want to add a little bit of prosecco as well, more of a cocktail, it's really refreshing. Plenty of ice, garnish, chopped apples. It's really nice.
Sounds good.
So you got apple in as a garnish, have you?
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. That sounds like a really good drink. I'm going to have to try that. I've got lots of Damson gin that I made. Actually, I can't remember if it's gin or vodka now. and I'm very bad at labeling bottles.
Yeah,
but
until you try it.
It's just an excuse to taste them all, isn't it? Though
exactly. Is that one different? I can't tell.
Monday lunchtime, what's in there?
What about you, Chris? What have you scavenged from the office?
Hey, you know the offie in Vauxhall?
Oh yeah.
It's come up trumps. I was in there and I was chatting to a Jamaican lady, and she pointed out Dragon Stout, which is original Jamaican, brewed and bottled in Kingston by some company. 7.5%, hits you around the face really hard. Slightly sweeter than a Guinness, but decent
Wow,
stuff,
look at that.
actually.
Yeah.
So you've got
Yeah.
a pint of Jamaican stout.
In Vauxhall. Yeah.
How does it taste?
It tastes strong, like really strong, stronger than it needs to be.
As in boozy.
Yeah, it's slightly fruitier than a Guinness. Nowhere near as good as a Guinness, actually. I did the Guinness tour in Dublin the other day. Nearly killed me that weekend. Anyway, did the Guinness tour in Dublin, and the pint they give you at the top of it in the 360 bar is absolutely unbelievable. It's one of those pints that you just never ever forget.
Yes.
And tastes so good. Have you done it, Ollie?
Yeah, I have. I went over for a 21st, actually. We went to, we set off from Manchester, and I thought all this chat about Guinness tasting different in Ireland as it is the UK. So I had a pint at Manchester Airport. As soon as we landed, straight into the Temple Bar, had a pint of Guinness there, and absolutely, completely different.
Yeah.
And, you have that pint at the top of the Guinness factory, that full view. It's absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it is. And I did the same thing as you, except my pint in the airport was in Stansted in the Wetherspoons at about 9 a.m, and it was absolutely disgusting. And it was actually the worst pint of Guinness I've ever had by some mile. It's like they watered it down and then chucked in something else. And so when I got to Dublin a couple of hours later and had a Guinness over in Temple Bar or wherever that touristy area is, it was chalk and cheese. But when you've gone round the sales pitch of the Guinness factory, up through all of the different stories that they tell you throughout, and they've got this bar at the top where there's no cash at the bar. They just give you one token as part of your thing, and you're allowed one in there. And the way that they pour it and everything about it is it's just the most incredible sales pitch for a business in history.
Well, I was going to say, presumably you're gasping for a pint of Guinness from the moment you begin the tour, which then just gets more and more intense. So the reason it tastes better is because you've been absolutely desperate for it for, an hour by that point.
It's like anything. If you drink the right wine in the right glass with the right occasion in the right setting, it tastes so much better than the other way around. And exactly as you say, everyone is just like the smiles on people's faces at the top of that bar. It's quite something.
Well, I just thought that a Jamaican stout is quite suitable for the weather we're having at the minute.
I'm surprised they've got one, but yeah, I mean it's not bad at all. I think it's got pretty big now. I think it might be imported by one of to find it over here. I was pleased to see it was brewed and bottled in Kingston, though, not like a knockoff that's ended in being brewed
what's
in the
what's
UK.
its name?
Dragon Stout, yeah.
So do you think Dragon Stout tastes better in Jamaica than it does in London?
I mean, it's a fair
using the Guinness
plane
model.
ride, that. Should we go to Jamaica to find out? That'd be good.
That's proper research, isn't
it? That's much more fun than going to Dublin for the weekend.
It's a long way to go for a pint.
It is. George, what are you drinking?
So the other bit of news that I didn't share earlier on is that my sister got married a couple of weeks ago, and I'm pleased to say there's still quite a lot of wine left over. My new brother-in-law has a motto, which is "It's always rosé weather," and today is very much rosé weather. So I've got a big glass of some of the rosé that we had at the wedding that weekend, which is. In fact, I put the bottle back in the fridge just in case I need more. But it's some sort of Provençal pink. It's pink, it's cold, it's wet. It's just the thing for today.
Very good.
Moving swiftly on then. Ollie, as you know, this is the moment in the podcast when we turn to our mailbox and we ask our listeners to write in with their whose bird is it anyway questions, their shooting quandaries, queries, and dilemmas. Chris, can you take it away with this week's one?
Absolutely. This week's Whose Bird Is It Anyway comes from someone that we shall call Chad, who writes, "Greetings from the colonies, specifically from Manhattan, NYC. We've been listening to your podcast since you started and find them immensely entertaining. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. 2 seasons ago, a dear friend invited my wife and I to his club's last of the season flighted pheasant release, or stand and shoot, as I like to call them, located a few hours north of New York City. We've been close friends for decades. My wife and I have stayed as guests at their country house many, many times. It was great fun, with our host and his beautiful English-bred golden retriever picking up, and most of the line in full regalia. This past season, to reciprocate, I invited our host and his golden to walk up with my wife and I at my New York City club's full shoot, and to the post-shoot cocktails, of course. The day before, as my wife and I were driving up from Manhattan late Friday afternoon, our friend called to convey his regrets that he couldn't make it due to a business-related situation that needed to be resolved. An experienced gun, he of course apologised profusely for his last-minute withdrawal. My query: are we still obligated to reciprocate? Note that he and his wife did show up at the post-shoot cocktails late and were the last to leave. So that's quite good.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. It's quite interesting because if you can't make the shoot day, but you're that keen to turn up that you did make the drinks after, hats off to him for that, really.
Well, it's like a wedding where you say, I'm afraid we can't make the ceremony, but we will come to the wedding breakfast.
Ollie, what do you think about this situation?
Yeah, I still think that he should reciprocate the invitation. Yeah,
being dropped in a minute the night before a shoot day.
Yeah, nothing worse. But I think if you're saying if you're ringing up and you're saying you can't attend a shoot day, then if it's a paying customer, now there's a difference again. If it's a paying customer or it's a friend, if it's a paying customer, they should give their peg to somebody else and make sure that they have filled the gap.
Yeah.
And with a friend, I just think it's not good.
I don't think he deserves. He's had his invite back, as it were. The thing is, though, you invite people because you want to spend time with them.
Well,
you want them in your company. But the thing is, it depends upon the number of times like this particular occasion occurs. It sounds like this is his club's Christmas shoot, so it's a bit of like a syndicate setup. So it's all relative to the situation. So I think that in this scenario, he should invite him back because he probably can more easily. Whereas if he took one grouse day a year, for example, and he dropped him in it the night before and it was his 50th birthday shoot, that sort of thing, like doesn't usually take a grouse day. Do you know what I mean? Like then it's like, you had your chance, like we'll just do the syndicate day next year type thing.
It all comes down to how much you like them, basically.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say, yeah.
Like if they are, and it says here, a dear friend invited us to go to their last
clearly
season.
Close.
So good friends. If you really want to have a day shooting with this person, then invite them again. If you were only inviting them out of politeness to say thank you for the invitation that they had already extended to you, then you've done that. You've offered the invitation. They've stuffed it. And
this is fascinating because he's obviously gone to the extent of messaging us in on the podcast. He's obviously bothered about this because he's seeking our help. Yet he is a dear. They've been to their country house many, many times, and he is a dear friend.
Yeah,
I'm disputing that.
I have another analysis of this situation, which is that the dear friend and invitee is another listener to the Guns on Pegs podcast. And I think this is a stitch up. This is a ribbing by proxy. As I suspect.
How many times do you reckon that's happened to us, though? How many times do you reckon people have used us in that scenario?
Oh, I think we are a tool for people's internal stitch ups. Yeah, all the time.
We had a very public one, didn't we? We've had lots
between two warring brothers. Yeah, I think it happens a lot, and I think that's what's happening here.
So actually, yes, I think you're absolutely bang on. He is a dear friend. He's got every intention of inviting him back, but not without some pain.
Exactly that. Yeah. This is a ribbing.
Right. Well, on that basis, to the other dear friend, don't do it again. What we need to know is, what was this business deal?
Oh yeah, it better have been a big one.
Yeah. Like, he's in Manhattan, he's in the right part of the world to be doing big deals. Ollie. I think we need some info. Can we have some private info on what that deal was, please? And we'll just sort of give a later pod verdict on whether acceptable or not.
We trust you to go directly for the business angle. I am interested in this phrase, flighted pheasant release.
Ollie, what do you reckon this is?
Yeah. Does that mean that they sort of have a drinks party on their release of their birds? Is that a thing?
It should
Hold
be.
on.
If it's not, that's a jolly good idea.
Ooh, I like that.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know when the birds go to the pheasant pen or something, or you release them out for the season. They have a drinks party about it.
The Syndicate Party release party day.
Yeah,
this is a thing that needs to occur. I've not heard of these.
Yeah.
You've inadvertently. I don't think.
There could be a barbecue format all through the summer or whenever you release the games.
Yeah, maybe the day you open the pop holes or something.
Yeah.
No, George, there's another day. There's double excuse.
Yeah, like it.
Can I? You are right to analyze this. Can I analyze another part of it? Flighted pheasant, as opposed to
like pigeons.
Yeah,
no, but like a non-flighted pheasant.
Oh, what you mean? The sort of as opposed to the walking pheasant like we have here on our shoot.
You were overfeeding them. What is a flighted pheasant release?
Well,
that's more info we need.
Is this thing that they do in the States where they sort of boot them off a tower?
Have you seen this, Ollie?
No, I haven't. No.
Don't go putting it into YouTube.
Right.
I think it's to do with the rules in some states where you can't release birds into the wild as such. So there's no pheasant releasing, but they still want to shoot the sort of incoming pheasants as opposed to walked up.
Right.
And so I've not experienced this firsthand, but I've seen videos and things. And basically, I think there's a great big tower and they've got a crate of pheasants and they sort of pick them up and chuck them. Sort of thing.
American style.
It's amazing how you managed to convey the meaning earthworm by saying American there.
Which way people have taken that?
We'll edit it out. Not. I think, interesting. There's a lot more I need to understand about this scenario, but our verdict is
it's not for us to look down on anybody else's sport. I don't think. Wouldn't be for me.
No, I wasn't meaning that. I was meaning about the invite.
Oh,
should he reciprocate?
Well, Ollie, what do you reckon?
Yes, yeah. So I'm just trying to get my head around it. He's been invited shooting, and his friends turned him down the night before.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think he should. I think he's given him the opportunity and the chance to be there on the day, and if he's not going to turn up, he's not going to turn back. He shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if they're good mates and they do it every year, then this was his one this year. Next year, he'll probably invite him back, and he does it again.
Yeah, that's probably how I'd go with it, Chris.
Yeah. So I think even for my very best friend, I think I'd operate a strikes policy. I think the first time you can go with it. I think if they then dropped out last minute for the second year in a row, they might not get the third invitation.
No, I agree.
How many your very close friends, George, are on 2 strikes at the moment? Are there any names?
Funnily enough, I had a very odd year last year where quite a few people dropped out, not like right at the last minute, but maybe like a week before or that kind of thing. And I did have to do a bit of scrambling about to find replacements. So there's 1 or 2 people who are on the list this year but might not be next year.
So if you plotted it on a chart about the number of dropouts you had on a yearly basis, you might be able to sort of judge like how good your company is,
how popular I am
in sort of line chart form.
Well, it could also be reflective of the quality of shooting, couldn't it?
A mixture between your chat and your shoot on chart. I like it.
The funnier I get, the worse the shooting can be.
Do you know what? There's shoots that operate on that basis, 100%.
Yeah, very good point. But no,
Right.
it's interesting. I think we had this really peculiar year where normally we don't get many dropouts at all. But last year, I think practically every shoot day somebody was unable to make it for one reason or another. We were filling slots at the last minute. Which, of course, the problem there is that you invite somebody. It's dead men's shoes around here. So if you miss your opportunity, you might find that your slot has been filled by somebody equally charming and good company. You might not get the invitation again.
I'll send you my number, George.
I got your number.
And a case of gin.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Up next, we have got a podcast. We've not had one of these for a few episodes, so it's nice to have it back. And this is a very nicely thought out submission. Ollie, if you're not familiar, this is our... well, actually, Chris came up with this, I think, at the Game Fair last year, which is...
on the spot, accidentally.
Yeah. It's our sort of extension of the concept of a McNab. So the idea is it's fur, feather, and fin on 3 different continents. And you have access to the usual array of Guns on Pegs podcast, technology, private jet, time machine, helicopter, and I think in this one, powerboat. Let's get into it. Our correspondent writes, Dear Chris and George, I'm William and I'm 12 years old. My father and I are avid listeners, with him being a proud member of the Most Noble Order of the Garters. I have to admit I was rather disappointed when his podcast submission didn't result in a second set of garters on a technicality. His set is rather fetching, and I had designs on commandeering the second set for myself. As such, and in hope of joining this most noble order, here is my podcast itinerary for your consideration. Fortunately, we've been kept abreast of the extinction level asteroid in good time. The dogs have been fed, the tomatoes watered, loved ones and enemies reconciled, a full 72 hours in advance of our ultimate termination. Enough time, therefore, to board the McPod jet, accompanied by the 2 of you and my father, for our journey to New Zealand. We'll refuel in Mogadishu, Mali, Port Moresby, Melbourne, and finally arrive in Matamata. Our beaters are readying themselves in Hangar 2 Alpha next to the McPod time machine as we touch down in the land of the long white cloud. While we may have opted for a present-day start to this saga, it seemed a shame not to enjoy one last sortie aboard the grand old girl of time travel, so all aboard into the year 1250 AD it is. Dawn is not long away, and we make haste to the McPod time machine gun room. I select the number 1 gun from my father's trio of Holland 28 bores, and hand number 2 and 3 to George and my father. Much to my disappointment, we've had to sully these hallowed racks with an over and under as well, this being Chris's particular perversion.
What? Hold on, he's opened up this with a, I'm worried I lost my last set of garters on a technicality. I mean, he's gone straight in.
Roasted by a 12-year-old, Chris. As the end is nigh, it may as well be a good one, so we've provisioned for a Woodward in 20 bore. A handful of suitable loads for ground game are in our pockets, and we're ready to board the McPodcast helicopter for the short hop to the first drive, appropriately named Extinction. We set down in a tight glen, lining out 30 yards or so apart. Our headkeeper starts the drive in the traditional manner in these parts, with the haka. No sooner have the tongues been withdrawn and the stirring chant finishes echoing down the line, the first mower breaks out to the right. My father's in prime position again, just his luck, and he takes it early, with another following close behind to his second barrel. The birds come scurrying thick and fast, and we're soon all into the action. A brilliantly driven spectacle and a rare treat, but it's time to go, for we've a long flight to Brazil for a spot of ratting. We take off due east, gaining a day as we pass the international dateline south of Tonga. The 12-hour flight affords us the opportunity for some shut-eye before we tackle the rodents and our third element. A brief refueling stop at Hangaroa, and we're soon descending above the vast expanse of the Brazilian Pantanal. It's 0600 hours local time, yet it's starting to warm rapidly, and we ought to secure our capybara before the heat of the day forces their lethargy. Back at pod headquarters, Digby has made arrangements, and the locally chartered McPod helicopter ferries our motley crew to the waiting John boats. We've each a double .22 high-powered drop lock from my father's armourer of choice, originally made as a quartet of peacock guns for the Maharaj of Howrah's concubines, with their enamelled faces in place of the usual numbers. They make quite the ideal rodent weapons. Running the flooded channels at speed, we spot our first herd, at least a dozen, feeding intently on the flooded grasses. Our skippers cut the motors in unison, iron sights are raised as they sense our threat and scatter. Right and left for myself, my father and Chris, while George, true to form, misses with his first shot. But does follow up with a sound second at the largest of the group, going away at a clip. 2/3 there now, and back aboard the jet in time to make the evening rise of mako sharks on San Diego Bay. The sun is still high, but will drop quickly, so full throttle out of the marina. Twin 250s screaming, 14 weight rods in hand. In minutes, we're well into the bay, scanning for birds and telltale dorsal fins. A bait ball spotted, and I lead a huge shark, a good 12 feet, with the enormous imitation. A lightning acceleration and a splash, and we're into the fastest shark in the seas. Spiraling jumps and tearing line off my Jack Charlton reel as it heads for the horizon. Full drag, and it's starting to tire. Soon by the boat, some quick photos for posterity before being unhooked unharmed and released back to the inky blue. Another successful McPod, handshakes and good cheer all round, and soon back aboard our airborne chariot, for once more it's back to the McPod Club, where, despite my youth, the doorman permits me entry, and the members toast me with a glass of the club's ceremonial whiskey while I enjoy my J2O. As my father always says, tight lines, hot barrels, and full glasses, gentlemen. Yours most sincerely, William.
What a brilliant submission.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Well written for a 12-year-old. I sense Dad might have been involved slightly.
Well, I couldn't possibly comment. But I think, yeah, it's a very nicely put together piece. Now, of all of those, I know for a fact, obviously you can't shoot a moa any longer because there aren't any left. They went extinct quite a long time.
When did they go extinct?
Oh, I don't know. A long time ago. A sort of a big ostrich affair from Australia and New Zealand.
Big enough to fly or not to fly?
I think flightless. Oh, have you spotted a technicality?
If this is a running bird, what is the technical requirement for a McNab?
I don't know. Does it? Well, I think if you shot a grouse on the ground, I don't think it would count in a McNab.
Any opinions on this one, Ollie?
No.
I think that we have said feathered.
Yes, not flighted.
True.
No, he's pushing it though. We'll let him off. He's still in touch with the garters. He then insulted me, wrongly insulted. Still very much a side-by-side man, but yes, of course, need the OU for certain occasions. Then insulted George, which I enjoyed a lot, and it was
rather
very
more accurately as well. I'm sorry to say.
But did you notice the insult for Digby back in the office doing our organisational work for us?
Head of admin.
I'll point that out to him when I see him in the pub in a bit. What a brilliant submission. So any further points you wish to raise from this, George? Any technicalities you want to pull up?
I don't think any technicalities. I mean, a moa, they are a group of extinct flightless birds formerly endemic to New Zealand, according to the Bodleian Library, by which I mean Wikipedia. They are huge. The big ones, are sort of as tall as you or I, and then a bit more.
Right.
So quite punchy cartridges. I imagine they travelled fairly fast. I think you'd need to give them plenty of lead.
I enjoyed the references to my father's trio of Holland 28 bores. I kind of got the impression that they might be genuine.
I think they might be. Yeah, it's hard to separate fantasy from fiction here, isn't it? I tell you the bit that's definitely not fiction, which is you can definitely catch mako sharks on the fly.
Really?
I've seen a film back from my fishing TV days. There was a film about catching makos on the fly, and makos are the angriest sharks. They're also pretty big, and very fast. And when they are hooked, they do literally jump, 2 or 3 of their own body lengths out of the water. You would have to be actively insane to want to do it, because I think you're just as likely to get pulled in as you are to pull the shark in. They are huge and very powerful.
They eat people for fun.
Oh yeah, they're pretty fighty. Yeah. Yeah, and I think they often also find themselves in fresh water as well. I think they sort of swim up rivers, which is mildly terrifying.
Well, thank you, William. We've analysed your McPod suggestion enough, and you shall be in receipt of a set of garters, I feel.
Yes, I think so. So yes, William, Chad, and of course now you, Ollie, the newest members of the most noble order of the Garters, and will very soon be in receipt of a set of the much coveted Guns on Pegs podcast shooting sort Garters. If you have got a shooting confession, quandary, or query, and you'd like us and our guests to help you with it, or if you've got an unpopular opinion or a podcast selection, or you want to tell us about a forgotten drive or a shooting hero or any of those things, drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com.
Ollie, have you not got a set of garters already?
No, I haven't. No, I feel like I feel honoured.
I also apologise, because you really should have. You have had an appearance on the pod very briefly at the intro of our live pod at the Game Fair in
the first one ever. Yeah,
2021.
Must have been.
We did, yeah. We did the drinks. Did the drinks reception, didn't we? That was a wild one. That was a good party. Yeah. You have had some fantastic parties at the Game Fair.
Yeah, we've kind of stopped. Well, we've stopped doing them now. They got too wild.
Yes,
it's an unusual reason to stop doing a party, but when it's on someone else's site with someone else's insurance and your responsibility and all that,
feeding alcohol into like-minded people. Yeah.
What you're saying, Chris, is we basically got in a bit of trouble.
We also got old George. We're both 4-0 now, as of me 2 weeks ago. And I think that we struggled more than we did in the past.
Yeah, very true. That being said, we have got some parish announcements to make, Chris, about the Game Fair. So in the previous episode that I recorded with Jake, Avian, and Sam, I trailed the fact that we're going to be doing a live podcast again at the Game Fair, as we have done in previous years. I was a bit hazy on the details at that point, but I can now reveal that we will be in the Carter Jonas Game Fair Theatre from 4 p.m. on the Saturday of the Game Fair. So be there.
Do come along. It's good fun. We've got a hell of an episode planned, and George, do you want to say anything on it?
Yes, I do. Yes, but I want to do this in order. So before the recording.
Yes, before there is.
I think you should tell people this bit, because it's your thing.
Well, it's so absolutely. So this year, 2026, Guns on Pegs turns 18, and weirdly, we actually launched it on my birthday when I was. How old would that make me? 22. I was, and so having turned 40 on the 5th of June, we launched it on the 5th of June. 18 years ago. So we're having a party, the Game Fair.
An 18th birthday party.
Not quite one of those parties in the evening. It's a daytime party. And if you are a member of the most noble order of the Garters, Digby, Gemma, Frank, Sophie, and the team have invited you guys and all former guests to come along 2 p.m. on the Guns on Peg stand at the Game Fair. Bring your Garters, because then we know you're a member, and you'll get some drinks. We can't invite, obviously, all listeners and the rest of it during the middle of the Game Fair. That would cause us another problem.
Yeah. Get banned from the Game Fair altogether. Yeah. So that's 2:00 on the Saturday afternoon. So it's sort of a pre-drinks for the podcast as well.
Which is never a good idea, George, is it?
So I mean, I think we should just go a little bit into, people would often celebrate sort of the 10-year anniversary or the 20 or 50-year anniversary of a business. But Digby was telling me about the logic behind the 18th birthday party, which is that Guns on Pegs can now technically apply for a shotgun certificate. So they decided that the 18th was a more significant birthday than the 20th.
Should we apply for an RFD and then say, because we're now 18, on behalf of Guns on Pegs?
That's a very good idea. Just mock up a shotgun.
If I can remember as well, Chris, you actually had the stand next to us.
So I meant to say to you right at the start, the first bit of Raisthorpe drink I ever had was when I borrowed your Hoover.
Yes.
And it was at the 2009 Game Fair at Beaver.
That's it, yeah.
And we were all a bit younger then. And your mum and dad very kindly lent me their Hoover to try and sweep up our little stand.
It's
we both had
dusty,
pretty little
though.
stands.
Hoovers at the Game Fair are a nightmare to find, and it's exactly what you need at the start of the day to make sure that the stand's looking good.
Absolutely. And I had that, I think, I think it was a raspberry gin that your mum gave me.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten it. Good old days. That was,
I mean,
so how old was Raisthorpe then?
That was when we were one. We were only one because we started. No, sorry, we were three. We started in 2006. That was in 2009.
Yeah.
So that was when it was obviously the CLA Game Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been going pretty much every year since then. Well, you will have been every year as well.
Yeah. So 2007 at Blenheim was our first year, and then the year after I think was the one that got cancelled.
Yeah.
And then 9 at Beaver. Hold on. If we're 18 now, oh God, my maths. George, help me.
Don't look at me.
2007 was our first year. Yeah, that was that was when we literally just started. So yeah, we would have been 2, and you were 3.
We were 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
A long time.
And Ollie, you guys are supplying the drink for the birthday party, I understand.
We are indeed, yeah. I think we're going to have some dry gin. I've been speaking to Digby and Sophie about that. So, I'm looking forward to that. We do a bit more of a collaboration with our dry gin. And, I'm intrigued. We've not done the full recipe yet, I don't think. But,
What do you mean by that?
So you're going to do some cocktails?
Well, me and Digby
you mean
are
just
in
the cocktails?
Yes, yeah. We're doing some drinks for the Guns on Pegs. You're doing a morning drink as well, I think. Is there a mocktail as well?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I know that the guys like to have a busy stand, so I expect they're just finding lots of excuses to have a party.
There's quite a few drink sessions going on with different clients and businesses and events and organisations and whatnot. So I'm sure they've got something up their sleeve.
Good.
So how many flavours have you got now?
We've got about 16 different flavours. It all started with the raspberry gin and the raspberry damson and sloe gin. It was all for shooting, really, just for 11s. When people come shooting, we just made it ourselves, like a lot of people do, and started bottling it, putting a label on it, and started selling it. So we started going to a few of the markets, and that's when the flavours sort of grew, because when you're on the markets, as well as myself, market research, you're asking the customers what that sort of flavours they want to hear, as well as try and taste, as well as what you think will sell well. I might come up with an idea that we should use elderflower with orange, which would probably taste not ideal. Whereas you go on these markets, people go, "Oh, have you got the apple and elderflower?" And it's like, "Oh, let's put that into a tonic." So the different flavors just grow, and that's just all people, the general public, really. Can you bring out that flavor and just experiment, really? And that's why we've just got such a full range. And we've got vodka as well, and our damson port and sloe port, which again I think you'll have tried one of those. That was made at the Game Fair. Our damson port, the sloe port was, and then we were sat there as you do at the end of the day, and we started mixing a few drinks, and then we mixed our damson gin with some port, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
I've got images of you sort of like a mad professor in a lab coat in a sort of flickeringly lit lab somewhere in the bowels of Raisthorpe Manor.
Yeah,
lightning strikes
all out. Yeah,
white smoke and hair on end.
Yeah.
Sort of cackling, crazed. So you do a lot of shows, don't you?
pre-COVID, we'd about 92 a year. We're on about 52 now. So as we speak, we're at Lincolnshire Show, just below the Humber. That's the show that we're at the moment. And we've got Yorkshire Show, a lot of local ones, Driffield Show, do Danby and Egton Show, just little village shows. They're good. And then we obviously do the big ones like Burley Horse Trials, the Game Fair, and we do a lot of gin festivals, local markets, Malton markets.
So you take a lot of feedback from customers and you have sort of investigate their requests. You must also use the shows for a sort of a bit spot of corporate espionage, going around seeing what everybody else is doing, see if you can nab an idea.
Crikey, when we set up, there was 3 registered distilleries, in Yorkshire, and I think I've looked, not don't quote me on this, but not too long ago, and there's about 70 now. So the gin boom has just really just gone huge, and there's all these different ideas and different flavors. I do think people now are actually becoming very loyal to brands. And we're quite lucky. We because we're quite well established, we've got quite a good loyal customer base. People they've tried all the different flavors, they've tried all the different gins, and then now they're sort of sticking to their sort of gin that they prefer. But yeah, there's loads out there to go and try.
It must have plateaued now, the gin boom, surely. It kind of went crazy probably 9 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It was sort of like around 2012 when it really sort of kicked
Oh, really?
off.
So 13 years ago. Yeah,
13 years ago. Yeah, it's a big 10-year. I mean, I wouldn't advise anybody to try and set up a distillery or gin company now, because it is very saturated. As much as good fun as it is just very competitive.
Really. Yeah. And when did you launch the tonics?
So tonics, that was after COVID, about 4 years ago. That was just something a little bit different, because we get asked, what should I pair this with? What should I pair this with? And instead of saying the F word, I thought bringing up with a new tonic, and being a Yorkshireman, a true Yorkshire style, I'll call something the Yorkshire tonic, using all Yorkshire water.
I think it's a great product. It tastes great, and I love your branding, and just Yorkshire tonic. I mean, I bet you've got a loyal following with that. It's got the Yorkshire identity, the sort of yellow and white, and yeah, it's
that cool. Little bit more bitter than everything else.
Ooh. I'll tell you what. There's I think Yorkshire. Here we go. You got me off on one now. But Yorkshire, I do think that it's a brand within itself. If you go down, I've got loads of. I was at the RAU, Royal Cirencester. A lot of southern friends, and anywhere you go to different houses, and it's just like, it's the northern one. But I guarantee you, if you go into their cupboard, you'll always find a bag of Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire's got. I think it's a brand within itself, and I think wherever you go in the UK, you say you're from Yorkshire, the next thing you get is A up, and people do say, "Oh, it's Yorkshire tonic. Why have you named it Yorkshire tonic?" And like I just said, it's like it is a brand within itself, and it's like Yorkshire tea. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and it's got the white rose of Yorkshire on it, which right at the top, isn't it? In the middle of the label, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got the Yorkshire rose on the square on the middle and at the top.
And so it sounds like you've got different flavors of that now as well.
Yeah, so we've got a premium, a skinny, a strawberry and pomegranate, an apple and elderflower, and a paradise. Yeah, so it's like equivalent to a Mediterranean, which is actually named after the drive right in front of the house. It's called Paradise. One of my favourite drives. Oof, unbelievable. So we called that Paradise.
Of the gins then, or of the liqueurs, presumably Sloe's the best seller, is it? That's the one everybody wants, or?
Yeah, we do quite a lot of own label stuff. So our Sloe gin and our Damson gin is obviously very popular through the sort of winter seasons, and different flavours vary between parts of the year. Rhubarb is very popular now, with the elderflower. I'm actually drinking the Damson gin, but mixed with the apple and elderflower tonic. But yeah, through and then we've also got the toffee vodka, and that's really, really popular at Christmas time. So it really depends on the time of the year of what sort of flavors people want.
Tell me about shows for a second, because 52 shows I mean, we find the game fair hard.
Mhm.
That takes something else, doing 52 shows, right?
Yeah. So that's when we'll probably have a couple of shows on a weekend as well. York Christmas Market's always a big pull for us. So we've got 2 vans that go out. We've got sort of our show setups that we just sort of.
Everyone knows what they're doing. It's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah. But it's
just hard though. It's just face-to-face sales in that sort of environment like that.
Oh. Yep. Yeah. So, but I love it. I do love it. I love talking to people, and I love sort of promoting the brand as much as possible. So it is good fun. But yeah, you got to keep your smile on your face, and just sell as much as possible,
and then get to bed early.
Yes, which normally it shows, as you know. There's always some sort of drinks party, and you wake up hungover and trying to sell some gin.
Wait, at the shows then, I mean, do you have a pretty good idea when people come up to the stand whether they're shooting people or not?
Yeah, with the shoot having quite a good reputation and things, people have come onto the stand and they go, "Oh, I've shot up at Racethorpe," or "Oh, you've got the train around the table and we had the sloe gin and the damson gin whilst we were sat having lunch," and which is great. And it does work really hand in hand, really. So we do have like a stall in our shoot lodge, and which is right at the entrance and the exit. And we do have a card machine there. So if anybody wants to sort of
to stock up, and you do quite a lot of sort of white label stuff as well, don't you, for shoots?
Yes, yeah. So we do a lot of own label sloe gin and damson gin, which is actually quite a big proportion of the business now. Actually, is supplying shoots with their own label bottles.
Can you give me an idea of the scale? Because I think everybody who's ever made one good bottle of sloe gin has sort of had the thought, "Oh, I'm quite good at this. I could probably sell this." But like, for example, you guys are distilling the spirit as well, rather than buying it.
So we get the ethanol in at 96%. We've got a 500 litre Gino still. That gets us our sort of dried gin, and that's the gin that we use and the water that we use to put into our big tanks. So we've got like loads of milk, milk parlours, and milk sit in, and we just fill it with gin and sloes, and that makes our sloe gin.
And where are you getting the fruit from? Have you had to plant loads of blackthorn?
That's right. Yeah, we did. We planted 20 miles of hedgerow back in like 2006, and then we do get as much as it from here, but then we have like a 10-mile radius of Racethorpe, which is where we get the rest of the sort of the sloes from and the damsons from.
So do you have a big old farm pick like any fruit farm would?
We do. No, we're not huge. There'll be about 6 of us that will go out and sort of
really
as much as possible. Yeah,
hands in pieces by the end of it.
They're terrible. I've done many over the years, but we do get sort of a team in now to sort of.
And what kind of volume of sloes you? Because if I pick 2 kilos of sloes, I'm like, right, that's done me for. I'm good for maybe even a couple of years.
Yeah, well, crikey, we go through. Well, we sort of try and divide them out into 25 kilograms of bag, into 25 kilograms, and we go through. We'll go for about around 5,000 kilograms of sloes, I think.
Blimey, that's a lot of sloes.
That's obviously not all in one.
Yeah,
see, they're all divided up into. Yeah,
that's a lot of picking.
Probably more. Yes, yeah. And the local area, it's bizarre. We get a lot of people in the local area that will give us a ring. Oh, I've got X amount of sloes. Do you want them? It's like, yes, like grab them straight away, pop in the freezer.
So you can just take them.
Yeah,
they don't have to be.
It's bizarre. People enjoy, getting out in the garden. People enjoy going out picking, and then they just literally give us a ring. I take them straight away. I'm like, yes, please.
Well, I've got a key. I've got half a kilo of sloes. Do you want them?
Yeah. Well, more. Yeah. Literally, and then
like in a Sainsbury's bag.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, just put them all into one and get them in the freezer.
It's interesting though, because in a food business, just taking something from someone local, you'd think that's in lots of types of businesses that wouldn't be okay. But I suppose when you're dropping it into straight ethanol,
Yeah, it can. Yeah, God, it
doesn't really matter what's in it.
Yeah. So it is good. It's very helpful, and we very much do appreciate the sort of local support from them.
That's amazing. So then you're obviously doing the same thing, but in smaller quantities for damsons and buying the rhubarb in and all that kind of stuff.
Yorkshire rhubarb, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's all fresh, all liqueurs with gin, sugar, and fruit. There's no artificial sweeteners observed.
And the other aspect to the estate is obviously the shoot, which is, I mean, you guys have grown in notoriety, I would say, because of the sim shoot, because it's just much more of an easy thing to market. The game shoot is what it is. You've got lots of returning customers and all that sort of stuff. But simulated shooting is obviously heading in a certain direction. And would that be fair to say that the sim shoot has really put the place on the map?
Yes, yeah, definitely. In people that be listening to the pod, we're very renowned for our simulated shooting, and it's just because, again, it's the history, and we were one of the first. We started with hand traps. We had 2 people on each trap, one person pulling the spring back, the other one loading the clay up. And again, that started in 2006. And then we built the lodge in 2008, and we're doing plenty of days at the moment. It's going. We're right in the thick of it now. In June.
How many days are you doing on the sim shoot?
We're pushing on 86 this year. Yeah, that's 86 days.
6 days a week.
Some days are, but we do run 2 days, 2 teams on one day. So we've got 12 days this year where we've had double teams out. So we've had 24 days in sort of 12 days, which is quite good. And believe it or not, you will never see the other party. You'll never see the other team of guns. You have a 9 o'clock start and a 12 o'clock start. And the 9 o'clock start, they'll only see the 12 o'clock start if they stay boozing in the lodge past 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then they'll turn up like, "Hey up, Medi, you've got a second team in," and they would have no idea that the second team was out. Just the way we sort of manage it, the drives we shoot with a simulated grouse pack, the simulated grouse drive, and we do higher drives, and we're probably one of the only simulated shoots in the UK that you can actually customize your day now. So if you want to go shoot the simulated grouse, you do that, go high, shoot high pheasant, partridge, we've got ducks, we've got rabbits, and we just have a phone call the night before to the shoot captain or who's bringing the team. So you can actually design your own day before you get to us.
That's fun.
I think one of the things, am I right in saying that your sim grouse drives, you're actually in grouse butts? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got them. We've got all fully grouse butts, all built into a bank, and they are. It's on our social media channels, Instagram and YouTube. There's a few videos or pictures if anybody wants to go and check them out.
Well worth checking out, I'd say. And so tell me a bit about the estate, because I've not had the pleasure. So how big is it? What's the landscape like?
1,200 acres. We're built. We're all on the wolds, so it's all rolling valleys, built for shooting. We always say God must have been a shooting man, because there's some of the best shooting.
It's got to be one of the most Yorkshire sayings there is.
God's own country.
God's own. So we're very blessed with all the rolling valleys and the topography that we've got. Yeah, we've got a game shoot here as well, shooting around 64 days, around 350, 400s, which, to be fair, with Touchwood is, we sell out quite a lot.
Is there a lot of repeat custom from the sim to the game and the game back to the sim?
Well, that's the great thing. If you've got a couple of days to sell on the game, we have people that come shooting on the simulated that you can just at the end of the day sort of nudge on and say, "Well, I've got a syndicate day on this day. Would you be interested?" And it's a great way of showing the place off as well. And on the simulated, gets people up, gets people sort of keen and thinking, "Crikey, you'd probably want to take a game day here as well."
Yeah, I think more and more shoots are starting to think along those lines, aren't there? With more and more places offering sim. Do you take that as flattery, or is it a bit like the gin, where you're like, for Christ's sake, would everybody stop muscling in on our patch?
Exactly. I mean, people are popping up and doing it, and which is great. I think it's great for the sport. I think it gets people involved. It gets people that probably haven't been on a game day but would like to go on a game day, they start on a simulated day. It's not quite as expensive as a game day, so you can be there sort of, in your sort of shirt and chinos rather than +4s. It's through the summer, but we are going to start offering some sim days through the winter now. But yeah, there's different ways of putting it, because it's all good going to the top of a hill and putting a clay trap and then sending them off. It's all about, I think, hospitality as well. I think you've just got to do it right. I don't know if I'm rambling on here.
Is that your? I was going to say that no, you're not, because you're going into your differentiator. Because obviously nowadays that's really what you got to find.
Yes,
this sort of stuff, and little things like the train around the table. I'm sure that was there.
So hang on, I don't know what you mean here. The train around the table. Yes. Tell me what you mean.
We have a train track that goes around the inside of the table. So in front of your knife and fork and your plate, we have a train called the sloe train, which has got the sloe gin on, the sloe carriage, and then we also have the wine carriage, and that takes the wine around. Then we have a chap who has a bowler hat on, and whoever that may be, sat around the table, and they have a controller, and that you press the button and it sets the train off with the gin and the wine going around the table.
So it's like a model railway, but as a booze delivery system.
It's a booze train. Yeah, it carries.
It's like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang on steroids.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Little differentiators, though, isn't it?
Well, it's like another Well, is he a Yorkshireman? Wallace and Gromit, is he Yorkshire?
Wallace was from Yorkshire, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, Chris, it's differentiating yourself against other shoots. I mean, we've now got the Gnat as well, the remote control aeroplane.
Yeah.
So that's
one that everyone's tried to shoot down and really hope to shoot the whole thing.
Yeah, everybody wants to shoot it down. Everyone wants to bring the bigger cartridges.
How often does a Gnat get shot and broken?
It all depends on how low we fly it. Because it's made of Corex, it's sort of the shot goes through the wings, and the engine's made of steel, so it's quite a robust bit of kit, to be fair. But that's another add-on that we can offer on a simulated clay day.
The thing I always try to do is, as it banks round and flies towards you for a second, I'd let off an early shot at the front to see if it would just go straight through the engine. Obviously, this is a horrendous thing to try and do, because no doubt those things aren't cheap.
No, well, we've got quite a few engines, and we've got a CNC machine that sort of makes them. But no, they're not. They're not cheap, to be fair. The buggers that put the heavy loads in.
Really?
Yeah, it's all good fun. And again, it's just something different on the day that you can sort of add on to your day.
So tell me about the game shoot then. So how many days a year are you doing now?
About 64, I think. We're doing about that. Dad hosts all of those. We've got 3 full-time keepers, and it's nice. It's busy, which is good. And we rear the birds ourselves as well, and we've got the hatchery here as well.
It's a hell of an estate operation. I mean, it must be bloody hard work, but great fun at the same time. And it's probably one of those things you take for granted when you're flat out in it, hosting all these different things. But sounds amazing.
It is. It's so lucky to do what we do and enjoy what you do as well. And we're very lucky. But you can always improve. And we've just built another hospitality spot. I think hospitality is massive on these not just on game, but on simulated shooting as well. I think hospitality needs to be as good as the shooting.
Yeah, well, especially in sim shooting, with the way that corporate, it's much more attainable for corporate days. Therefore, the hospitality has just got to be that much better, doesn't it?
Yeah, too right. And corporate days is one thing that we want to try and grow as well, because a lot of people go to the races or they go play golf. Not everybody can play golf, but like coming on a sim day, we can offer instructors as well. You see, so you get the full package, and it's a good. We need to try and break into the corporate sort of market. And again, you're not killing animals either. You're smashing clays at the end of the day, so you're not killing in the corporate world sort of sector.
Yeah. No, it's a big market for that. There's a long way to go, as you rightly point out, with golf and all the other things that people do. There'll be cycles of this stuff. So, one that we really hope continues as well. Well, look, Ollie, the way that we finish up these pods is, as I'm sure you know, with Desert Island Shooting. And the scenario got alluded to, actually, in the Mook pod. And it is this, that the extinction level event asteroid is going to hit tomorrow. But your affairs are in order, loved ones and enemies reconciled, dogs fed, tomatoes watered. So in this scenario, Ollie, how is your last day beginning?
Oof. Are we talking the full day?
Yeah. We're doing anything.
Yeah. So I'm going to be exceptionally biased here.
Here we go. I'm not going anywhere.
Everything
going anywhere. I'm going straight out the front door. Arriving here at Racethorpe in the shoot lodge with all your best mates, family around, breakfast here, bacon sandwiches, and then straight out to Paradise. Absolute phenomenal partridge pheasant drive. Then over to Low Warrens. It says it's Low Warrens. They're quite high, just on the partridge, and all the family involved, all the friends, everybody beat us, pick us up, big team effort, and 2 more drives, probably Thorns down here, and then Thixondale End over there, and then back to the lodge for a couple of Racethorpe Manor gin and tonics.
He's a salesman, isn't he?
Oh, God.
He's a salesman and a Yorkshireman to his boots, in that they don't leave Yorkshire.
He's a Yorkshireman, and they've got grouse in Yorkshire, and he had the opportunity of putting a grouse drive in, but just drifting up the road slightly.
Yes,
I know. Do it.
No, we do have Yorkshire's got some phenomenal grouse shooting. I've only been lucky enough to shoot grouse once, but the Yorkshire partridge it takes some beating.
So Paradise is the sort of the marquee drive, is it? At Racethorpe?
I would say that's one of my signature drives anyway.
Paint us a picture of the drive.
So you're pulling out the front gates, and it's literally right in front of you. It's a lovely steeping valley with a lovely wood at the top, with all maize cover right for about half a mile along the top, and it goes back about 250 meters, and then we just bring it all in, and it's just heavens open.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Chris, have you shot at Racethorpe?
No, I haven't. I'm waiting for my invite, actually.
Yeah.
But I'll come up and do some gin sales for you.
Yeah.
Well, look, Ollie, honestly, if it all goes tits up, there's a job at Yorkshire Tourism for you, I'm sure. So it's obviously an incredible operation you've got going on, and it's really lovely, given that it's a family business. Obviously, Guns on Pegs is a family business. It's just so lovely to see all this happening, all the different aspects, and long may it continue.
Yeah. No, that's good. And that's good.
Well, Ollie, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really fun.
No, thank you so much, George and Chris, for having us. Just wanted to add on, you can cut this bit out if you want, but I would like to offer all Guns on Pegs listeners a 10% off our website.
I think we'll leave that in. Is there a code you want them to use, or
code is Guns on Pegs, and you'll get 10% discount off the racethorpemanor.com website.
No worries.
Lovely.
And we'll see you at the party at the game fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that, Chris. Yeah, we'll sure catch up there.
Yeah.
Good man.
Great. So before we go, all that remains for me to say is that there is a final reminder that you can get your hands on a pair of the very exclusive Guns on Pegs podcast shooting stock garters by sending us your shooting dilemmas for us to resolve, or by sending us your unpopular opinions, or sharing your forgotten drives or podcast itineraries. Just drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com, and if we read it out in the next episode, we will send you some garters. I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. I will be recording from the banks of the River Carron, because I will be on a salmon fishing trip. But until then, thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.